What is happening, everyone? Welcome to G-Ball Vision. Tonight we have our second video on my favorites of 2023. Tonight we are talking about my favorite gent knives of 2023. And before we start, your opinion of a gent knife might be completely different than mine. These are my opinions alone. And in my opinion, I think they can be locking or non-locking. And I think that they are a sleeker, thinner profile, an aesthetically pleasing profile, but still has a useful blade shape, and or a shorter statured knife, you know, maybe like a fifth pocket knife in a sense, right? I do have 5 runner-ups and then my favorite gent knife of the year. And coming in at number 5, I think the Migron QX2 is a great gentleman style knife. It has a nice sleek profile using premium materials, M390 for the steel. It has a sand washed, sand blasted, high polish finish to it. Sheep split blade is going to be very useful, very utilitarian. You have titanium all the way around, micro milled titanium scales. It looks amazing in person, guys. The camera doesn't do it a whole lot of justice. The pivot looks nice and clean, geared tie backspacer, nice milled clip. The action is great. The cutting is also fantastic. Because of the sheep split blade and how this is done, you still have a nice pokey tip. Because of that finger choil, you can get right up on this thing, right behind the edge for a more controlled cut. You can also get right up into that choil, get up behind that tip for more precise or detailed type cuts. Love how low and slicey this thing is. Long cuts will be quick work with this as well. Very comfortable, and I think this is deserving to be on this list. You know, comparing price and materials and the build quality and the aesthetics of this knife, I think this is a great gent style knife. All the opening methods work very good. Tuned pretty well. Detent could be a little stronger in my opinion for me, but I think for a lot of people this is probably perfect. Migron QX2 definitely deserves to be on this list. Let's get to number 4. So number 4 is going to be a traditional style knife or a non-locking knife. This is the Jack Wolf Knives Low Drag Jack. This will be the only traditional non-locking knife on this list. Now in this case we have the Low Drag Jack. These are coming in S90V. You have this beautiful drop point blade with that big old belly going to the tip, and this is one of the most useful blade shapes in my opinion. The way that this traps material in this area before the belly starts is just amazing. Doing very long cuts with this is easy. It makes it very easy to trap material in here. This is still the factory edge and it is still screaming sharp. I have used this a ton as far as testing goes, breaking down tons and tons of cardboard. I have a couple of different videos and shorts on this knife. Look at that satin finish. The grind lines look great. The walk and talk is fantastic. It's your standard, typical Jack Wolf knife. You have jungle wear fat carbon as your inlay here. The transitions are beautiful and seamless. You have a titanium frame. Everything about this, guys, is just extremely well done. I'm glad he went to S90V. The walk and talk, like I said, is second to nobody. And initially, I wasn't the biggest fan of traditionals. I really tried, and I tried, and the Hedgehog really made me look more into them and start liking them a little more. And then this one came out in S90V, and I really loved the blade shape. I was always worried about the handle being too short, but in the case of how some of these slip joints are designed, I can get a full grip on this thing even though the handle is not that long and not that thick. So it's just the way that it is designed. I can get a full purchase on this. Plenty of edge there to do any day-to-day tasks. This would make a perfect gent style knife going into the slip. Nice clean look. Drop it in your pocket and you have a very useful, great looking knife. So these last 4 were very hard for me to decide on. I basically went with the ones I carried the most, used the most, and these next two, the Bridgeport 395 version 2 and the next one, were very hard for me to decide where to put them. And some of you might disagree with me on this one, and that's okay as far as being a gentleman style knife. But I think this is. It's a shorter statured knife, or, you know, about average, I would say. But it's nice and clean, nice and simple. I think this is a great gentleman's knife. You're getting 20 CV. You have a beautifully hollow ground drop point blade with a nice satin finish. Beautiful grind lines. You have a cutout and dull flippers, dull thumb studs. You have natural micarta for the handle material. You have a titanium backspacer and hardware, along with the pocket clip, which is nice milled tie. And you have a titanium filler tab for left-hand carry, titanium liner lock. The action on this thing is fantastic. And if you're wondering, the way I open this is I use the studs for the thumb flick, and I use the cutout for the reverse flick. But you can use both if you want. Either side, either way, whether you want to reverse flick off the stud or you want to reverse flick off the cutout, you can do both. But I prefer thumb flick the stud and reverse flick the cutout. You can get a lot on this thing. It is tuned very well, nice and thin. The Bridgeport 395, I think, is a classy, you know, old school with the natural micarta look to it. It's kind of like a classy, traditional liner lock, in my opinion. Nice, and it's not real big. It's not real small. It's kind of right in the middle, and I think this is a fantastic gentleman's knife right here. Let's go ahead and get to the next one. So this one was really hard for me to place. I think this is a great gentleman style knife. This is the Am8 Knives Flicks 2, which is sister companies with Miguron. And this thing is just, look at this thing. This is a nice gentleman's knife, in my opinion. It's a little flashy, a little loud, but it's very clean. It's very sleek, very streamlined. You're getting S90V on your blade steel. You have a nice, useful drop point blade. Love that swedge going to the tip. Looks very good. You have, yet again, that high polish, sand-blasted finish on this guy. Seems to hold up very well in my experience, guys. You have a nice cutout, which I love the way that they did this cutout. And the front flipper really reminds me of a Ray Laconico design front flipper. Yes, there's only so many ways to do a good front flipper, but there are definitely many ways to do one horribly. And in this case, they absolutely nail that front flipper. It doesn't matter how you want to, you know, go about flicking that front flipper. You can do the rollover, the reach around. You can do the typical just roll over with your thumb, and you can thumb flick this out off the cutout. You can reverse flick it. Love how thin this comes down. It's still nice and pokey, very comfortable, and because of this 50-50 choil, you can get right up on that edge. Nice control. You can also get right up on that tip because of that 50-50 choil, making precise, detailed cuts, control cuts very easy. Love the titanium milled bolster look that they have going on. I love this milling pattern. It's nice and deep, and it's easily visible. Looks great. You have the infused copper carbon fiber for your secondary onlay there, and then you have a titanium geared backspacer and a nice milled titanium clip. Just looks great, guys. This is one of my favorite knives of the entire year, one of the best values of the year. The Miguron, or the Am8 Flicks 2, Miguron Flicks 2, basically. I don't know why they have two company names, but the Am8 Flicks 2 definitely deserves to be on this list. A nice streamlined design, lighter weight. I love this thing. It looks fantastic, and it is a great cutter with that drop point blade and the S90V steel. Let's go ahead and we'll get to the last two. So, like I said, guys, this was very, very tough for me to do. And yes, I can put this knife on this list because it was released this year. Whether it's a secondary iteration or not, this knife was released this year. This is the EMP EDC Nimble Tanto version 2, exclusive with Urban EDC Supply. That's why you see the Segaha pattern there. This also has all Zircuti hardware kit on it, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Very comfortable in hand. If this isn't a gent style knife, and that's what you're saying to yourself, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Nice Tanto blade here. You have a hollow grind going into a flat grind here, I believe. Or is that a hollow going into a hollow? That might be a hollow into a hollow, actually. Either way, very slicey, very pokey. Elmax steel on this bad boy. Look at them grind lines. Very good. Love this thing. You have the EMP EDC prototypical fuller hole combo. You also get the front and rear flipper. The detent on these is tuned perfectly, just like you would expect your EMP EDC knife to be. That's how this bad boy is. And you have that flashy as hell Zircuti pocket clip. And if that's all you see sticking out of the knife, boy, does that look gentlemanly, in my opinion. Classy, flashy. Love this thing. Very comfortable in hand. And yes, it is a slicing beast. Very pokey as well. I love the Nimble T series. Very clean looking, very sleek looking. Just a nice little package right here. And then the Zircuti to kind of top it off. This could have easily been my #1 choice, guys. But I think my pick for the best gentleman's knife is definitely worthy. And let's go ahead and we'll get to it. So I've been raving about this knife since like March, April area. This is the OSER F22 Urban EDC Supply exclusive. What makes it the Urban EDC Supply exclusive is the black blade, black shield, and the black micarta. This thing, guys, is just, look at this thing. Just a great gentleman's knife. I mean, people call the CRK TCEO a gentleman style knife. This is basically your CRKT CEO on steroids ×2. You're getting M390 for your blade steel. A nice drop point blade. Got this little swedge here. It kind of gives it like almost a harpoonish look. You have this nice coating that is held up very well. Nice sharpening choil there. You are also getting the Lee Williams kickstop. So because of the way that is designed, when you actuate the flipper, you do not see it come out the other end. It actually hides up here in the spine of the knife. So it is completely different than your standard flipper. And because of that, you get incredibly good flipper action out of this thing. One of the best flipper knives of the year too. And I was going to say, some of these knives you might see in some other various videos because they are deserving of being in a couple of the best of videos of 2023. And the OSER is definitely on that list of being in multiple categories. You have this beautiful black micarta. It's patina-ing very well. Titanium shield, titanium pocket clip, titanium backspacer. Everything just goes together so well. Flows together very good. It's a nice, slim, sleek, streamlined design. Lighter weight. And because of that longer handle there, you can get a nice full purchase on this thing. Plenty of blade and edge to work with. Nice, useful drop point style of blade. Very thin down here behind the edge. Very slicey, very pokey. This is a great cutter. And in my opinion, this is the best gentleman's knife of the year. I love how it looks in pocket. I love just how it looks, period. It's got that traditional appeal to it with all the modern accoutrements, and that Lee Williams kickstop just kind of really tops this knife off. I think without that, I don't know how I would feel about this knife, you know, if that was just a standard flipper. But the way this thing cuts and carries, and then the opening action is just incredible. And then it drops shut like a dream. Even though it's a thinner profile blade, as soon as you disengage, it'll drop to your finger, and then it's like a one shaker, and she's going home. Tons of good access there to that inner liner or that inner frame. It's a liner lock, but it's a thick liner, guys. This is my pick of the year, though. You'll have to let me know what you think of this. I think the OSER F22 is definitely deserving. Like I said, I could have easily went with the Nimble T, but you'll have to let me know what you think out of these couple of knives. What are your favorites? I think they are all great gentleman style knives. And like I said, you don't have to be on the same page as me when it comes to the gentleman style knives. But in my opinion, these are 5 of the best gent style knives of the year. You got a couple different price points, a couple different looks when it comes to your gent style knife. And of course, guys, these are just my opinions with the knives that I have bought myself this year. There's tons of knives that I have not experienced, I have not had, so there are knives that could and should be on this list that are not, and that is because simply I didn't get them. I don't have them, or I no longer have them. So from what I have from this year, these are my gent picks. You'll have to let me know what you think down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would love to have you here. Hit that subscribe button down below, or click the G-Ball Vision logo popping up in the center of your screen. I'll throw up 2 new videos. Go check this one out right here, because it is definitely a badass video. I love you guys, and I will catch you on the next one.